Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Friends in Recovery podcast. I'm Jersey Ed, along with nobody today. It's only me, guys. I was traveling all last week, and then we couldn't do anything on Saturday, which is our normal recording day, and Sunday gets a little tough with everybody. So, the show must go on, and we must do what we have to do. So just real quick, if you want to get a hold of us, the phone number here is 800-989-6504, or you can email me directly. Carl will put that across there, but I believe it's jerseyed2018 at gmail.com. And also, if you want to email the show, it's help@friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. And remember to subscribe, like, and share this show, guys, especially this one, because I'm solo. I don't know. Share it no matter what. Also, look for us on our Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Friends in Recovery Podcast. Take a look over there because this show will air over there also. And also, don't forget to buy the book.
Are you a rebel seeking transformation in your recovery journey? Then 366 fucking days sober is the book for you. 366 daily meditations. This book by the SoberPod Recovery Podcast host and professional rebel, Carl, will help guide you towards a new way of thinking and living. Each daily meditation offers a fresh perspective, practical advice, and a healthy dose of Carl's irreverent humor to help you stay sober and embrace the challenges of life without drinking, drugging, or shitting your pants. Whether you're just starting your recovery journey or looking for a daily dose of encouragement and laughs, 366 fucking days sober is the book for you. So, if you're ready to transform your life and become the rebel you were meant to be, get your copy of 366 fucking days sober today. Available today on Amazon.com.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Carl has a great book, so please, you guys, if you could buy that book, it would be great. I'm actually going to use that book on today's show. Today's show is called Living Life on Purpose, right? The reading today was about living life and living the way we used to live. And it really hit home for me, especially the reflections. Have you ever thought about your life's purpose and what it is? And yeah, I think about that all the time. And my life's purpose keeps changing. You know, it was different before when I was in my active addiction. It was different when I got into recovery. It was different, 10 years into recovery. It's different, all the time, as I grow and as I learn. But today is February 18th, and I'm going to read from the book, February 18th, having drifted in and out of consciousness for most of our fucking lives. It can be a bit of shock to have to think about what our purpose is moving forward. Our purpose used to be to get high or fucked up on a daily, but now there's something greater calling, rising deep within us. This can feel scary. No, really, it can. Having ever never made contact with the power that resides within us, there will be some hesitation to hear its call. But once you hear it, it will be hard to ignore. So get your big boy underwear and big girl panties ready, because you are about to start living life you live your life's purpose. How does that sound? Well, I think it sounds fucking great. And then reflections. Have you ever thought about your life's purpose and what it is? Daily challenge. Find a documentary on drug addiction and or alcoholism on Netflix or YouTube and watch it. So, living life on purpose, this hit home, having drifted in and out of consciousness for most of my fucking life. I was 28 when I got sober, but I was, I think, 12 or 13 when I started, using and drinking, and cocaine came into the picture. Not too long after, probably when I got into high school, give or take somewhere around there. So I was probably 13 or 14. And, there was the one purpose was just like the book said, get fucked up and just go through life. I really thought back then when I was getting fucked up, that's what life was about, going, just drinking. And I couldn't wait till I turned 21 because then I had a legal place to go drink, and then that purpose, living life on purpose, then was sitting in a bar, eating hot wings and ignoring, my wife at the time as she was calling and asking where we were. And we didn't have cell phones. Well, yeah, we didn't have cell phones back then. So they would have to call the bar, and everybody, when the phone rang, I'm not here. So some of you older guys might remember that. But that was my purpose in life back then. Of course, the purpose was to make money, was to, provide for the family, but that was secondary to, using and drinking and drugging. And that was the purpose of life, because of all the shit, either that was in my head or that was, kind of stuck in thinking like, I'm not good enough. All my growing up that I never had any kind of, support in my life, direction in my life, that life is going to be tough. I always thought that, you just get money and you go and you get messed up and that's it. Nobody ever taught me about life and life's terms. I had to find it out through drugs and alcohol. But I had to find it out on the other side of the drugs and alcohol, because on that side of the drugs and alcohol was really just existing and living in a world that I thought was what the world was supposed to be, and I was always sitting around waiting for me to make the big money and waiting for me to get the house and waiting for me to, get the promotion or whatever it is. And it never came along, because I never did the work. There was no life purpose at the time. I know I said there is a life purpose. I mean, everybody has a life purpose. At any given time of their life, even if we're fucked up, if we're not fucked up, there is a purpose to life. And my purpose to that life was to take care of my kids and my family, but it wasn't. It was, when can I get high? How can I get high? How can I get drunk? How can I skirt around this and that? And, skirt around the DUIs and all that stuff. That was my purpose in life back then, and as I got older and I had one purpose on March 10th of 1994 was to get into a hospital and really tell people that, life wasn't on purpose anymore. Life was being thrown into my face and being, just like Amanda just said on Facebook here, the master manipulator, right? I love that, Amanda. Thank you. And that is my purpose back then, was to be that master manipulator. And also when I went into the hospital, I was only going to go into the hospital, get sober for a couple of days and then come back and make sure the family was all okay and life was good and everything was okay. That was the first time around. 3 days in, get out, and life had no purpose again. Well, it had the purpose of getting fucked up and drinking and using and manipulating and all that. And it didn't get any better, guys. I can honestly say that when I got out of the hospital 3 days later, to saying I got this and I'm going to go to AA meetings, that life did not get any better. And a year and a half later, I went back in and it got worse. There was no purpose to life. There was zero purpose. Still waiting for the promotion, still waiting for the money. Why aren't they picking me to be the boss? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? How come everybody around me has houses now and I don't? And, I don't have a dime in my bank account. I got fucked in life is what I thought. Right. But I didn't take a time to step back and see what life was really about. Cause life, as I knew it, was about one thing, was about just kind of surviving and getting through and manipulating to get to the next high or drunk or out of the DUI or whatever it was, but the second time I went to the hospital, it was different, because the life purpose was not, was not there, it wasn't there. There was nothing, there was just flatlined of, I don't want to be here, but I don't want to go either, and there had to be more to life, because life on purpose then was nothing, was just nothing. And as I sat in that hospital for probably 35 days or so, it just got, just kind of started tuning in like, wow, there is a purpose to this life, but it's going to have to be without drugs and alcohol. There is a purpose, then the restraining order hit while I was in the hospital. Thank God it hit then. Right. But, now there's a purpose. Now I had a purpose in life. I had to get out of the hospital and I had to go tell her, the ex-wife, that this should be the way it should be. We should not have a restraining order. And I wanted to prove I was right or wrong, or I was right, I wanted to prove all that. And that was the purpose. So each little step, and that kept me going just for the time being. It just kept me going to, kind of get me to the next level. And, there was a reason why I stayed in that hospital for probably 45, 50, whatever it was. It was a long time. It was probably my higher power looking at my life on purpose at that point, and then, kind of sitting in my shit, not knowing what life is going to be like, at that time. I get out of the hospital and the shit hits the fan, and then there's a real life purpose at that point. And it wasn't a good life purpose, but that's how I look at it then, how I look at it today. I grew through all that. I learned through the bad, not the bad, but things that I created to be where I'm at that point in my life, and what I was doing in my life. I created my purpose at that point. So my purpose at that point was, to fix life at that point and figure out, how do I move through these things, and how do I get to the next level, and how do I get that promotion at work, and is the work the right thing? All this stuff was kind of like sitting in my face. And then with my therapist, who I went to see after I got out of the hospital, he said, "Eddie, don't do shit for the next year." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, no, you don't understand. I got to get going. I got to catch up. Life, life is out there happening, right? And he said, "No, Eddie," he said, "just stay where you're at." And I took that man's advice, and that's probably some of the best advice I could have ever taken. So that for that first year, I really did nothing. I did go back to school. I went to college. I started mapping out the purposes of my life, and as every day ticked by, there was a little bit more purpose in life, and ticked by, more purpose, and looking back now, I can see the purpose, but then it was so hard because I was giving up my coping system with, and just trying to be out there raw. I couldn't see my kids. I couldn't talk to my wife. Family hated me. I was living in my basement of my grandmother's house, and life was tough, man. I was like thinking there is no life purpose. I was better off drinking. And obviously I wasn't, guys, but, when you're in it, it's hard to see it. And Amanda said, having a pity party. Yeah, I had a lot of those pity parties. But I did stay tight to AA. I did stay tight to a sponsor, and I tried to learn everything that I could. For the first almost 2 years of my recovery, I had to have supervised visitation to see my kids 1 hour a week, and it cost me $100 a week. Now, $100 a week, almost 30 years ago, was big money. That was half my paycheck. Probably another half went to child support. So I really had no money to do anything, not even to drink or buy drugs. But, I look back now, and that was my purpose. My life's purpose back then was to get ready for my kids, to be there for my kids, to give them a better life than what I was giving them. Now, granted, my son was 5 and my youngest daughter wasn't even born yet, but I had to start getting on the right path and getting my life together. And I didn't know it at the time, but I thought everything was going to be perfect. They were going to get back together. My wife and I, the kids were going to grow up to be happy and healthy. And they did. They grew up to be happy and healthy. But there's a journey along the way, guys. And this journey teaches us this life lessons, and living life on purpose. You can't live your life on purpose unless you have these lessons that come along, unless you have these lessons that that taught me throughout all these years. And unless I have these things that I have to, kind of put my best foot forward and trying to get my life together. There's that those weeks and months and years and decades of living life the way I used to live it to living life the way I live it today is different. But when I was doing that with all the kids, when I was seeing the kids every week for an hour a week, I had to surrender to that after a while. I had to surrender, and I had to be kind of open to it, because it's something I created. It was my life purpose at the time, was to see those kids 1 hour a week. I didn't realize until a couple months after I started getting kind of my brains back and speaking to people, but there's 168 hours in a week, and I got to see those kids for 1 hour a week. That gave me 167 hours in a week to work on myself. Now, obviously I had to sleep and work and all that, but I was in a spot where I had to take that advantage of that situation, because it wasn't, it's life on life's terms. That was my purpose in life at that time, was to work on myself for 167 hours a week. And I did, guys, but that hour a week that I spent with the kids was even more worth it and valued, because I was working on myself and I wasn't sitting there pissed off at the kids and pissed off at the person who was doing the supervised visitation. And I can't say I wasn't pissed off at the ex-wife, but I was, and I eventually worked through that. But my purpose at that time was to be the best person I could be, and that carried out through all the years. And today, I live life on purpose. I run every day, well, almost every day. I meditate. I make the best life that I can make because of my recovery, because of where I was at, because of the shit that I did in my life. Not everybody gets to get a second chance in life, and I did, and a lot of us out there do, but it's just a small amount of us that get a chance to really live life on purpose, and get that second chance in life. So I don't know if you're out there listening to this, or you're thinking, should I get sober? Shouldn't I get sober? Well, that's up to you guys, but I can tell you, living my life today sober, living my life today on purpose, was the best thing I can ever do. I just don't want to throw it all away and ever be back where I was. So I help people as much as I could. I try to give people purpose in their lives, at least understand and see there's purpose in their lives, because a lot of us live from a negative standpoint in life and kind of look at things negatively. I know I've did that for years. And again, when you look at things negatively, you can't see the positive things in life. And once you turn that around and understand that there's everything positive, and even in a negative situation, and especially in that situation with my kids, I could have sat there for 2 years and been pissed off motherfucker and just not been happy and been, just didn't give my kids a second look at life. And, knowing that this woman is, is pissing me off and just sitting there for an hour. And, but I had birthday parties at this place. This counselor must have thought I was a nut job. Obviously he didn't, because but birthday parties, Christmas, I put a little Christmas tree in. I hid Easter eggs. I had everything. I had to do what I had to do. No one was going to stop me taking, even if it was an hour a day, taking me away from those kids. Again, that's the purpose. And life. Amanda's on here. She's throwing some good stuff at her. Life happens for you and not to you, and that is true. And once we get off the pity pot and stop seeing that life is out to get us, that's when life turns around. That's when life kind of gets exciting, and life just gets full of life. I guess that's the best way to say it, because there are times in my life, even in sobriety, that life wasn't full of life. Today I can honestly say every day that I wake up sober, every day that I wake up and just see the wonderful people in my life and think about my wonderful kids and my wonderful wife and our dogs and all our grandkids, that's the best thing in life. That's the first thing I do is I get out of bed, I roll over on my knees and thank God for all that stuff in my life, because without that, I wouldn't be living life on purpose, right? That's what life is about. It's not about the money, the cars, the houses, the job. That's all nice, man. Believe me, that's all nice. And working towards that is amazing, and it gives you amazing feelings, but I don't base my life on that anymore. And here's the fucking funny part of that is that I used to work my ass off and life would revolve around work and all that. And today I put less time in, but I get more work done. Life on life's terms, living life on purpose, living life the way we're supposed to live life. The way that my higher power, who I choose to call God, sets me up and gets me out there, right? I don't have to work those crazy hours. It took me all these years to figure that out, but I don't have to work those crazy hours. And now people come to me and ask me for my advice, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy. Not only am I helping myself, now I'm able to help other people. My kids are all grown. They have wonderful careers. My youngest is in college and they're figuring their lives out now. They're right where I was. And if there's anything that I always tell them is just enjoy life along the way, right? Enjoy life along the way, because you can't get it back. I don't know if you guys, if you're looking, if you see over my, I guess for you guys, it would be my right shoulder. There's a big calendar on my wall, and that's my personal calendar, because I have one of these. It's a phone. I have a computer that I'm on. I have a book that I put all my work around. Everything everything. I have 3 different ways to book my work, but I never had one way to book my personal stuff. So on that board, if you can see it, and I'll post a picture of it in the chat. It is my personal life. It's what I do personally. There's no work stuff on that. Nothing. Vacation goes up there. All my runs go up there. Anything that I want to do, like I'm doing an Everest thing, it's called, and in August of this year, I'm going to climb Mount Everest in it sounds weird, in Ontario, Canada, with a friend of mine, Clint Gore, who's also a friend of this show. His story was on here in the past, and we're going to do that together with a bunch of guys. A bunch of guys that are like-minded, that want to climb this mountain and want to do something good for ourselves. I did take care of myself physically all these years, thank God. And that's where I'm able to do that today. But I know when you're building your career and you want to get things going and you want to set the sailboat straight and, cruise off to the sunset, you forget about a lot of things, guys. We forget about a lot of things. And if I could tell anybody out there, don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to put your face mask on first. Don't forget to live life on purpose. Don't forget that, because you can't get this time back. That calendar just switched over from 2023 to 2024. It didn't go backwards. It went forward. I was just talking to a group last week, and the average American lives to 80 years old. So that gives me about 20 some years, about 21 years left if I'm to live to 80 years old. And it's, there's not much time left. And when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I had all the time in the world, and that's building a career and whatever that it was. It wasn't living life on purpose. It was living part of my life on purpose, but not my full life on purpose, because there is another part of life. There's relaxing, taking vacation, turning the fucking phone off, reading a fucking book, journaling, getting your head together, just taking a lazy Sunday and doing absolutely nothing, right? Well, running for me every Sunday morning, my long run. But that to me is just getting away and just, living my life on purpose. And this reading today in 366 fucking days sober, when I read it this morning, I was just taken back that am I living my life on purpose? Have you ever thought about your life's purpose and what it is? And I think I explained it all earlier as we started that. There are different times in my life that I live life differently, and one thing I can tell you guys is that I do now live life on purpose. I do now put myself first and then others, because if I don't put myself first and take care of me mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, nothing happens for anybody else, guys. And I'm in the business of helping people. And if I can't help myself, there ain't helping anybody else, and that's one thing I love to do is help people. And it's just amazing how today I can take care of me without feeling guilty. I know probably some of us are saying, well, if I don't work hard and I don't do this and I don't do that, I'm not going to get ahead. And is your boss really that important, guys? Is your boss come over your family? Does your boss take precedence? Does your, whatever that is? And I'm not saying don't be an asshole to your boss, but there is, you don't be an asshole to yourself either. Don't be an asshole to yourself. That's what I'm saying. And take care of you. And then your boss will see that, and everybody in your life will see all that. Everybody, including you, Neil Tucker, you'll see that too, right, brother? I see you here on Facebook Live. Thanks for all the comments and everything. Neil just said, we are one of the people we take care of too. That is right, Neil. We are one of the people we take care of. And sometimes, sometimes I shelve that and only for moments now, not forever, just for moments. And I have to realize that I have to take care of myself. So Amanda asks, how do you get the book? Amanda, listen to the commercial when this comes out, or go to Amazon, and put in 366 fucking days sober, and it should come up. If not, go to soberpod.com and it should be over there too. I live and die by this book daily. And it's just an amazing book. Guys, I want to know what your life's purpose is. So when you see this show below, I want you to put in the comments what your life purpose is. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're listening to it on any podcast catcher here on Facebook Live, I want to know what your life's purpose is today. It could be one word, could be 100 words, could be whatever. My life purpose today is to take care of me first and then others. That's my life purpose today. And I know it sounds selfish and sounds shitty. And maybe some people who aren't in a good space may not understand this, what I'm saying. But you guys who are living life on purpose understand exactly what I'm saying. Take care of me, take care of my needs, take care of what I need, and then I can take care of the rest of the world. Guys, that is about it. It's been a great show. Thank you everybody in Facebook Live. I do miss all my co-hosts. I'll be honest with you, the show is much easier to do with a few other people than myself. But show must go on, and we got to take care of business. So my life purpose for today was take care of me today, jump on the show. I figured for about 30 minutes, and that's what it is. I'm going to jump off of here, and I'm going to go sit on the couch with my lovely wife and all my dogs, and we're going to watch whatever comes on. So guys, just make sure you take care of yourself today, and remember, everybody, stay sober.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.